welcome back to my channel. I am going to be showing you guys how to do a acrylic removal process, and we are going to be removing both of our hands. I had already gotten started on this hand right here, but we will show you also what it would look like if we didn't drill off the top. First things we're going to do is get acetone and put it in this bowl right here. Make sure it's an acetone resistant bowl. And we are just going to pour that in here, and then we are going to be placing it to the side because we don't want to spill it or anything like that. And we want it to be ready for when we're ready for it. And another thing we're going to do is clip the nails all down. You could go lower if you feel like you need to, but just keep in mind that your nails could split and you don't want that. And we are going to just clip a couple more of them down, just a tad bit. Alright, now that that's done, we're going to get the Mani Pro, and we are going to be changing the drill bit to the extra coarse one from Skyline Beauty. This one, I like it because it doesn't conduct a lot of heat like the metal one that you had just seen, and it has the safety head on the tip of it, so when you're going up close to the cuticles, it is round, so you are able to even touch it if you wanted to without cutting yourself. And especially it being this coarse, you want to make sure that it does have that, unless you were used to the drill. If you were doing this at home, you could just get a hand file and just get a really coarse hand file and file it by hand. It might take a little bit longer than this, but it's better when if you have gel on to do that. But with this, the reason why I'm doing this, even though I didn't have gel to start off with, I'm just doing it to thin it out as much as possible, just so we could cut down the time by a lot, just because waiting for it to soak, and because how long my nails were, I had to have them thicker so they wouldn't break. So that's the reason for that. With the black polish in the cuticle, you don't really have to pay too much attention to that, just because it will eventually end up coming off in the acetone. Even though it is gel, it does break it down a little bit, but I like to do it because with the gel on it, when you put it in the water, it takes a lot longer soaking off your nails versus if you were to drill it down and do exactly what I'm doing now. So I'm just trying to save you guys time and money when you could do it from home, and it takes a little while, but I mean, it's better than having to pay. We are going to wait 5 minutes, and then this is what it looks like 5 minutes later after being soaked in there. Your cuticles do look dry, but I mean, it will end up, we'll put cuticle oil on it and it'll be okay after that. You're just going to want to soak and scrape all at the same time, so make sure you're going to want to keep your other nails inside the acetone, just because if you pull them all out at the same time and you're working on only one nail, you'll end up drying out the other nails, and it'll just be as hard as the acrylic was to begin with, and you don't want that. And the cuticle pusher that I'm using, it does have a curved edge. I like that a lot better, just because I feel like it's a lot safer when it comes to the nails, because the other one that's just completely flat, I feel like it tends to scratch the nails a lot more than this one, so I like this one. And you're going to want to push hard enough to scrape off the acrylic, but not hard enough to scratch and damage your nails, because you want to keep your natural nails as healthy as possible. And you're going to want to wait 5 minutes again while soaking those. And once those are 5 minutes later, we are going to want to scrape the rest of it off. The stuff that you see, it looks like it's my natural nail, but it's close to my natural nail, but there's still acrylic on the nail. So I'm just I want to make sure that I get all of it off. When you see it in real life, you're able to notice it a lot more than on camera. So I'm sorry that I'm not able to show you guys exactly what it looks like due to the quality of the camera. And with this, I am just trying to get off the little piece of acrylic that's at the tip of the nail. And right here, you see I'm scraping a little bit hard. You don't want to scrape as hard as I was doing right there. I was just really wanting to get that off. And so I keep dipping it back in there just to make sure I get all of the stuff off, like if there's any of it on there. The acrylic, because I don't want to end up scraping at it and it's acrylic that's already off, so that's why I keep going back and forth and dipping it. Another thing that you are going to want to make sure with your products when you're going to go get your nails done is making sure that the products that you have does not have MMA in it, because MMA, you could have a reaction to it. Some people don't, some people do, but when you are removing MMA, you are going to notice that it is very sticky. That is a lot harder to remove than regular acrylic. So just remember that when you go and get your nails done, make sure you're finding a nail tech that they are using good product and they're not using anything cheap on your nails. Because if they are, then it will be harder for you to remove them at home. Alright, make sure you're just going to get all of the pieces off of the edge of the nail. And you see there's nothing left on that nail and it's completely flat. And I'm just making sure that I got everything off of there. I'm just going to soak it just for 5 more minutes just to make sure I get everything off, just because since I am going to be applying another thing of acrylic on there, I don't want that acrylic that's left on there to end up making the nails lift, so I just want to make sure I get everything off. Alright, now that it has been 5 minutes, you see that there is still that little piece on there, and I am just going to be scraping at it. And then you see there's still a little bit there. You don't really notice too much when you're doing this, but once you start soaking them and you lift them out of the water and you see that they're a little bit shiny like that, you do notice that there is still a little bit of acrylic on the nail. Alright, this is what they look like with all the acrylic off. I am going to buff them out and I'm going to show you what I do to shape them and things like that. I'm just going to clip them all the way down, just to the way I like it. I just want them to be as short as possible, so when I do end up putting my set back on, and then this one I did end up hurting my nail. I had smashed it, so at the bottom of it, it ended up lifting up, so that's what that is. Alright, now the last one is going to be our pinky, of course. We're just going to go ahead and cut that down a little bit more. Alright, now that we are all done with that, we are going to get this Mia Secret buffer, and it is 100 on one side and 180 on the other. I am going to go in with the 100 first, and I am going to just start buffing that and getting it as smooth as possible. When you take off your acrylics, your nails should not be thin whatsoever unless they were thin to begin with. Depending on who you go to, if they're drilling into your natural nail while they're doing your fills and things like that, then that's when they end up tend to become a little bit thinner. But you can still prep the nails and make sure that they're still healthy and they're not damaged. And see, this nail is super healthy still. Nothing is wrong with it. all of my nails, they stood very, very strong. And I had been doing fills on this hand for about a month. Every month or two, I like to end up taking off my set just because I don't like the way it looks underneath. I know you could drill it out and things like that, but I just like it to be a nice and clean at the bottom, just because I feel like when you end up drilling out the bottoms, it does make it a little bit rough underneath. And I just don't like the way it looks. It makes me feel like as if it's sturdy, but I mean, it's all just personal preference. You're just going to want to keep on buffing until you like the way it looks. Because if you leave it raw from the acetone just right after you scrape it all off, I just feel like the acetone leaves the nails looking a little bit dry, and smoothing it out, it just makes it look a lot better too. It looks a lot more manicured. I like to make sure I get the sides as well and get the tips of the nails too. I am going to be going back and forth with the file. I'm going to get the file, and I'm going to shape the edges of my nails, the ones that they do need to be shaped, and make sure you are getting all of the nail, and just hold the skin back. If you're filing more of your skin than your nail, you could just hold it back with one of your other fingers. That one, it only needed one side, so just go through all of them and make sure you have them to the way you like and shape the way you want. I like to also do mine a little bit rounded, so that's why my edges aren't so square. Alright, we are almost done with that. We just have a few more of them that I feel like they need to be shaped a little bit better. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. Alright, now I'm just going to go ahead and get the buffer and run it along the edges of each of my nails just to make them nice and smooth, just because it was a very coarse file. And I don't want it to be catching on my clothes or any fabrics or anything like that. Alright, this is what it looks like after just being buffed. The next thing that we are going to want to do is put cuticle oil on the nails. You could use any that you have. I can't pronounce the one that I have, but it's called Kashuku, I believe. I've been using this one for a long time, and I love the way it smells and how hydrating it is. This is what the bottle looks like. It's spelled C-U-C-C-I-O. It's a very good brand. And I like that it has the little pump on it. So you squeeze the top and it'll suck it up into the little tube you see in the middle, and then you're able to put on the nails. But we are going to just rub all that cuticle in. Make sure you rub it into the nails and everything. And that will be all you have to do. Unless you want to apply polish and stuff, this would be the last thing that you do. But if you guys like this video, go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. And as usual, I'll be back with more videos. Bye!